Tonight is a new segment on Fox Carolina called Tracking the Case. We're going to bring you stories and cases that have never really been fully told to the surface. In Greenville County, deputies say it was 4 years ago. A group of 3 masked men ambushed Antron Crawford outside of his home. Now, Crawford was shot and killed, and since, no arrests have ever been made, and we really haven't heard a lot more about this case. Now, his family, as you can imagine, they're traumatized. They have lived with this every day, and they want to know more about what happened. They want justice, including Antron's own dad.
And Fox Carolina's Shale Rameen's been digging into this cold case. Shale, what did you find out?
Well, Tori, I did some digging as far as where Antron's father is, and I learned that he moved away after his son's murder to Florida, understandably so. I asked about his son's personality, and 2 words came up. First, a protector to his entire family. He also cut hair and was a tattoo artist and had a creative side his dad misses every day.
Theodore Fuller says he never got to know his little boy. He got to know the man, Antron Crawford.
He was out of my life up until he was 14. And once he came into my life, I just kept him right beside me.
To see one was to see the other, often confused for brothers instead of father and son.
So all I could do was hold him, try to help him stay calm. And I prayed harder than I had ever prayed in my life.
A September night 4 years ago turned this Greenville County road from feeling like home to heartbreak.
Mr. Crawford had picked up his girlfriend from a bingo hall on Augusta Road. They ultimately drove to their residence that he, his girlfriend, his father, and another room lived at.
Theodore Fuller says 3 white flashes appeared on his home surveillance, followed by echoes of gunfire. Investigators know 3 masked men ambushed Antron, shooting him. His girlfriend, only an arm's length away in the passenger seat.
He came straight into my arm. He said, "Pop, I've been shot."
4 years later, the only piece of evidence is one of the suspect's shoes, sent off for DNA testing, but nothing recovered.
And me looking in his eyes and him struggling like that, all I could see was my little boy. Not a 36-year-old man, my little boy.
As Antron lay shot, Theodore says he was introduced to the little boy he never knew, all while staying beside the man he loved.
I'm looking into my little boy's eyes saying, "Daddy, make this right." And I couldn't make it right.
EMS lights took over Bethuel Street, pulling Antron into the ambulance, his last words about his own son.
I remember when they got to the stop sign to make that left-hand turn, the lights and the siren stopped. And I knew right then. I knew right then my son was gone.
After the murder, Theodore left the upstate and the secrets kept behind closed doors. He claims a dozen people were gathered outside at the time of this shooting, yet no one saw who these masked suspects were.
Even my neighbors would come to me and if there been any word on anything, and I'm looking at them like I don't even trust them.
Deputies ask if 3 suspects were capable of this, then what else and to who?
One thing I do know, it was a planned thing. And I feel like if someone may be close to my son.
Investigators revert back to an attempted robbery, yet Theodore says not a single dollar was taken off of Antron that night, leaving the case cold.
There's no doubt in my mind. Somebody knows, but they're not saying anything.
And again, we know a shoe was recovered from the scene. Theodore says a mask was also found feet away from his house on the railroad tracks. Theodore believes at least one suspect was a friend to Antron, and they need to come forward. We know there's fear surrounding this case, of course, but investigators say they do have a way to keep you anonymous. Cody and Tori.